All right. So we want to do a nice little intro there with the ever popular now Easy Street song. Hopefully we don't get copyright infringement in our video, but either way we'll change it if need be. But that song is addictive. Once again, I'm joined by my buddy James, and we are here to dissect The Walking Dead season 7, episode 11.
Yep.
What was it? Hostiles
And Calamities,
and
yes.
Calamities. So, before we kick off into this episode, let's get a couple announcements out of the way. Usually our music is provided by Sirenscape, but we went with Easy Street today, so that's okay. Other than that, our charity is still American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. If you get a chance, please check out the links below. We're currently at 22% of our goal, so help us get there and level up to level 2, and then we can introduce a new charity and up the the quota a little bit more from there. Any help is appreciated. Click on the ads, tell your friends, share these videos, subscribe. Once again, any little bit does help. All proceeds do go straight to charity.
Yes, even like the video if you can too. Subscribe and like on YouTube. Anything helps. It just spread the word, and it just helps us reach our goal, and it shows us that you guys really like the show. So
yep,
definitely.
More likes, more subscriptions, puts us higher up on YouTube's as far as like videos you may like. So all that does help, and more clicks, more views, more ad money, more donations to charity.
There you go.
All right, James, how's it going, man?
It's going, man. How you doing, Jay?
Not too bad.
I'm glad we could kick off with the Easy Street because this one was another. It wasn't too easy to watch. But you know what? We're gonna do a special show here. Jay and I talked about it. It might be a little bit longer than the regular reviews. Got a ton of questions. Since the episode was a slower episode, as of late, that just seems how all the episodes are. There wasn't much to review. I did have a couple of questions on the episodes, not related to the questions that we're going to answer later in the show. But I think, I don't know, man. I watched it twice. First time I watched it, I hated it. The second time I watched it, second time through, you know, I always say this, you need filler episodes in the season. I'm going to stand by that. But when you have constant filler after filler after filler, bottle, filler, bottle, you know, this was a bottle episode with Eugene, Josh McDermott, Amelia Olston as Dwight, and then Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. It just focused on Eugene's experience in the sanctuary. But if you strategically place this episode in between a great action-packed episode and then just before an action-packed episode, I think that it actually would fit and it would be a much better received episode. But when you place it after two slower episodes,
yeah,
it kind of drags the season on even more. It feels like this is a entire build-up season to All Out War, and it again, I looked at the numbers from last week. New Best Friends, and it dropped from 12 million to 11.8 million. So people came back for the premiere. They didn't like the premiere as much as you thought they would, and then they dropped back down to about the average for the season, and it's kind of disappointing. It's discouraging, but again, 11 million is still a lot. But 3 straight years, you didn't have less than 13 million, less than 12.5 million viewers watching each episode. Phil, for 48 straight episodes, and even 49 with the season premiere this year, they didn't drop below 12.5, 13 million viewers watching, and now they're consistently between 10.5, 11 million. So you see the, 1.5 million is a lot. Some TV shows only get 1.5 million viewers. They lost I call it a TV show worth of viewers with this slow season, but it could pick up.
I mean, you can't get much slower, right? I mean, the only thing we need now is like a Heath episode, and just showing him walking around or something. It's just like no,
or another Hilltop episode where they're just in the hilltop and walking around, and everybody's on a farm or something like that.
Do you think
even Kingdom? It's just.
Do you think the ensemble cast is getting too big now?
It is, and you know what? We talked about this, and I try to prepare a lot of the average viewers that you're gonna have the episode. I told you back in episode 9 you still gotta review the story of, we still have to see the story of Eugene in the sanctuary, and that was going to be it was going to be a slow episode, and it held true because that's just the pattern. When you have Eugene getting kidnapped, you have to go back. That's a comic book event as well, so you have to kind of go back and see this all take place. And when you just focus on one or two characters, is usually, I say 90% of the time in this show, when it's just one or two characters spotlight in the show, it's really slow. The only other times I can remember it being a little bit faster paced was the Andrea episode where the governor was tracking her in Prey. I remember another episode where it was just one or two people with Shane, Rick, and then the three ladies on the farm. That was a great episode. It was a bottle episode. All of Morgan's episodes, even though they have Morgan in it, they were done great because they were strategically placed. But those are slower bottle episodes. You don't really have many of these episodes where you just focus on one or two characters, and it be action packed. So when I said it a couple of weeks ago, be prepared. It held true.
Yeah, and I was watching the in memoriam of the Talking Dead, and they had to put in Joey's sandwich because there's so little action.
And they also put in if you didn't notice, they put in a walker that technically didn't die.
Yeah, the walker's guts. And
the guts just fell out.
You guys are stretching now.
This is the second straight week where they're stretching the in memoriams. It's like they can actually skip this, without anybody realizing. I mean, it's just. Like I said, I would have liked this episode. I liked the episode if it was placed better, because you did get to see that side of Eugene. You got to see him being a coward, and then you kind of got to see his plan a little bit, and you also got to see him accept. He's not drinking the Kool-Aid. He's if you look closely, and we'll get into that, there's a method to his madness, and then. Of course, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I think he was a little bit watered down in this episode. I think this episode really focused on Dwight and Eugene, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan was in there a couple of times, but it was basically Eugene and Dwight's story. Yeah. And a great moment at the end where they came back together again, and Eugene said, "Do you remember?" Of course, Dwight remembers him. He bit him on his penis. So
can't forget that.
It was a great moment that these two, who had this, Dwight basically kidnaps Eugene and is threatening to kill him, and then Eugene bites him on the penis, causes a lot of the saviors to get killed. This is just
probably his first act of courage, right? I don't know if there was
anything. It was the turning point, and it was continued with the saviors killing, Denise, and then finally Negan bashing in the skull of Eugene's savior. No pun intended, but his savior Abraham. So it's like it all has come full circle, and for them to be standing right there is a powerful moment. And when Eugene says, we both work for the same guy, that's a powerful moment. So like I said, there was a lot of good moments in this show when you rewatched it. But if you watch it one time and you watch it after these slow episodes, you could see the disdain in the average viewer. I mean, I talked to a couple of people today, one in particular. He did not like the show at all. He's giving up on the show. He doesn't want to watch it until the finale or next season. He told me he's watching a couple podcasts that are kind of like knocking the show, and I can't take it that far to watch people knock the show because, again, you're gonna have slow seasons. You're gonna have down seasons, and this is what we got to go through. So this show is great. Stick with it. It's got to pick up eventually because we're getting toward the end. But in all reality, like I said, if this was more strategically placed in between two very good action-packed episodes or a meaningful episode and an action-packed episode, I think people would have enjoyed it a lot better because I actually took myself out, when I watched it Sunday. Yeah. I had watched it, and Jay and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. When you watch it consecutively weekly instead of consecutively in a row, Netflix, the story drags on even longer because you have that week delay before you see the next show. So I actually watched this episode and last week's episode and the week before concurrently. So when I watched them, it kind of fit a little bit better. But again, you got two slower episodes and then a bottle episode, so it kind of was, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it was like I had to take myself out of that and pretend that it was sandwiched between two great episodes. So, you know, and it's hard to do that, but
it is. It is. I mean, I just feel like with like some of these other episodes we've been saying, or these bad episodes, if we kind of just shorten them up and then combine them into an episode,
right.
And it's like there's so much like filler in this that we could just cut out. And I don't know, let's just go ahead and just jump right in the episode and let's walk through it and we'll diagnose it as we go.
Yep. So okay, so it starts off with the Saviors discovering that Darrow has escaped. Yep. Mainly Dwight, when they find Fat Joey's body. Basically his head is bashed in and the sandwich that Jay said that died. So, you know, Dwight goes into Darrow's cell. He finds the note. He immediately knows it was Sherry because her hand is feminine in her handwriting. He then goes into his room, which we discussed again, where Darrow basically broke out and waited for Dwight. He sees that Darrow trashed the place and he left the note in Dwight's room. So Dwight knows that Darrow was his responsibility. So he anticipates, you know, what's coming next from Negan and the crew. So as soon as he hears that knock, you know, on his door, he knows shit is going to hit the fan.
Oh, yeah.
He gets his ass kicked and he gets thrown into Darrow's cell. And Negan comes to him and says, "Hey, look, man, you better not be turning coat on me." And Dwight is like, "No." And he goes, "Not only is you know, Darrow gone, but you know, my wife, Sherry, is gone." And that, you know, that strikes a nerve with Dwight. So you're starting to see Dwight, he got his ass kicked. Now Negan is kind of like rubbing it in, and I'm basically sleeping with your wife. She's my wife now. Yeah,
now I'm referring to his ex-wife or anything like that. She is mine.
Yeah, and she's my wife. And you know, he still has to say that he's Negan. He still has to submit to Negan because it's against all odds. It's one against an army, and you can't win those. You can't win with those odds. Mm-hmm. So you know, and I think another powerful thing that we've seen here, in this episode, we'll get right back into it, is both Dwight and Eugene. Basically, their stories were paralleling each other the whole episode. So Negan, Dwight is starting to go the opposite way, where he's starting to dissect from the sanctuary, and then it seems like Eugene is, you know, joining the sanctuary. So both stories are parallel, but they're going in opposite directions. It's very good that they did it in that way. I like that, the way the producers did that. But anyways, Dwight is sent off to the doctors to get his stitches, and you start to see him devising a plan as he's talking to the doctor. The doctor is basically telling him, you know, Sherry, you know, don't worry about Sherry. She's the type of person that will, you know, leave you for another man. And Dwight is formulating a plan because he doesn't.
Doctor starts digging his own grave, man.
Yeah, and Dwight starts formulating this plan because he knows that if he actually finds Sherry, he either has to bring her back or he has to run away with her. Yeah. And Dwight is so entranced in the sanctuary, and he feels like this is his best chance at survival. When he goes out to find Sherry and he doesn't, he decides to formulate this lie that Sherry, you know, ran away from him and died in a herd.
And we've seen this before with
Morgan. I'm not Morgan. With Merle.
Merle, yeah, with Michonne. And what happens? It comes to bite him in the ass.
It always does. It always come back to bite you in this show.
Don't lie about main characters dying if you don't actually see them die.
and it was kind of foretold by Negan what was going to happen. So, you know, you keep going in this episode, and now we're going to go back. You know, we know Dwight went to go find Sherry. He found this letter that she wrote. It was a really good letter saying, you know, I don't want to stay here because I don't know if you're going to take me back. I don't know if you're going to kill me. I don't know if you're going to run away with me. I just want you to be happy. I made this choice for you to be alive, you know? So we go back to Eugene. Eugene is treated like a king. You know,
it's strange for him, obviously, because he's always been seen as the weak link. Just, you know, everyone has to take care of him.
Yeah, so he goes, and he's, you know, the savior Laura that we saw in the first, you know, the season, the Darrow bottle episode. We first saw her playing table hockey. She's starting to get a bigger role as I expected. she's now calling Eugene haircut in an affectionate way instead of as Eugene being a nuisance. Like in the mid-season finale, she's like, "You like to watch haircut?" Like basically saying he's a nuisance. Now, she's kind of saying, okay, he's one of us and he's important. Let me make him feel important. So she's kind of flirtatious, not flirtatious, but she's affectionately calling him haircut.
Yeah, she's flattering him. Nice.
Yeah, and she's being his tour guide, his own personal tour guide of the sanctuary. She takes him down. He learns the hierarchy system very quickly because he shows his intelligence very quickly. There was a funny moment where she said, "What do you want to eat?" He said, "Lobster," and she goes, "Wait, what do you think this is? Come on." And of course, another powerful moment of the show is when he goes to the radio after he sees luxurious living. And he goes to the radio and plays, and it's Easy Street.
Yeah.
And a little Easter egg here, Eugene's room is right next to Daryl's cell because they played Easy Street through the wall. So you kind of see Eugene is on the other side of the coin with Daryl. So
Eugene is actually on Easy Street.
Easy Street. With Daryl, it was more of a metaphor there, and so he's listening to Easy Street, and he's kind of bopping his head to it. He's kind of like drinking the Kool-Aid here. He's kind of like getting into it, and then he meets Negan. Negan calls him an asshole and all this other stuff. And at first, Negan's not impressed with him being, scared, and then Eugene realizes he has to do what he did with Abraham. He has to tell this lie that convinced Abraham he was important. So goes back to season 4, where Eugene tells Negan the same lie. The Human Genome Project. He's a scientist. He's a doctor, and he's gonna use weaponized organisms to fight weaponized organisms, fire with fire.
Yeah, not quite as convincing this time, though.
Wasn't, but it kind of piqued Negan's attention, and Negan tested him right away and said, they showed the walker's guts falling out of the walker hanging on the fence, and Eugene, quick thinking, said, "Hey, look, if we pour metal on these things, not only will they remain on the fence, but now their brains will be impenetrable by hostiles and calamities." So that was the title of the episode. That was very nice there too. And now Negan is like, this guy's fucking genius. Now he's looking at him like, wow, why didn't we think of this? And he's thoroughly impressed. So, and he's not only impressed because of that, but he's impressed because he's impressed with himself that he took such a valuable asset from Rick, and now he's using it for himself. So it's twofold. Now you're looking at him and he's saying, Negan is impressed with Eugene, but he's more impressed with himself.
Yeah, right. I am awesome.
That's what he had. His whole mentality at this point.
Yeah.
So so you go back, and now you're cutting back to Dwight, and he comes back to the sanctuary, and he's kind of thinking of a way. He's further thinking of his plan to make sure that he can convince Negan that Sherry just died. And then we cut back to Eugene with Negan's wives. And, of course, they're assigned to give Eugene non-sexual companionship. They basically, they're trying to butter Eugene up to kill one of the other wives, Amber. But really, they were formulating a plan to kill Negan. And Eugene is too smart. He told him to give the specific weight of, Amber so he could make...
That's a test right there to see what they're talking about.
It was. And... a couple of people, not a lot, but a couple of people that I know said, why didn't Eugene just kill Negan right then and there? You have to pick your battles. And they said this.
I think Low John said something like that.
Yeah.
Or to that effect, yeah.
This is on The Talking Dead, so watch The Talking Dead. And actually, Little John I thought he was going to be terrible. Little John was one of the better panelists that they had on a celebrity panel.
Besides the occasional F-bomb he dropped down and then bleep out, that's...
But you know what? Job. He was on point. You could tell that he's a fan of the show by the things that he was saying. So anyways, Eugene is still on Easy Street. He impresses the girls. He shows them that he's scientific. They come to him with a request. He kind of tests them to see what they're really asking for. Finds out when they said they need 2 of the pills. Finds out that it is for Negan or somebody larger than Amber. And of course, he figures out it's Negan. And he basically tells them, If I could figure it out, Negan will figure out what you guys are doing too. So you guys can go and lie to him if you want, but I'm important. And Eugene is starting to play this role as being an important asset to the
Yeah.
sanctuary.
You,
But
you, you can't just jump in here and like instantly
and
want to kill Negan. He's
yeah,
obviously watching you still. He doesn't trust you
exactly.
yet.
He's
You
not gonna
know.
he's not gonna trust you. And what if the
For all we
girls
know,
are
these wives are planted in there to see how
exactly there you
trustworthy
go.
Eugene is right now.
He's using his head
Mm-hmm.
and he's being very methodical here. And then we cut back to Dwight sabotaging the doctor by putting a piece of the note into the desk and telling Negan the doctor had Sherry release Dwight and not Dwight had Sherry release Daryl, and then the doctor helped Sherry escape. And the goodbye honey was from Sherry to the doctor. And he basically convinced Negan that Sherry was dead. And Negan made a great point here, like Jay and I said. It was almost a warning to Dwight. I will trust you because you do know what I'll do to you if you're lying to me. I don't care about this guy. So he basically
Yeah,
says,
this is where Negan kind of crosses the line over to chaotic and not so much like lawful. This is a
yeah,
doctor.
yeah. You
These guys are
can't just
few and far between
few and
now.
far in between. To kill a doctor shows
Yeah.
arrogance, and it's starting to show that he's abusing, and it's kind of leading into a bigger story that Negan is starting to abuse his power too much, and he's becoming more bullyish and more of he's instead of being a leader, he's looking at himself as a godlike character. And
Mm-hmm.
once you start to get a little bit arrogant and your conceitedness goes to an all new level, that's when you start to lose. And that's the
You're
savior
blinded by it.
space. The savior's faces during this episode showed a couple of times that they're not happy with what Negan's doing, but they have to accept it. Even to the point where Eugene went up to the woman who's giving out supplies and said, "Hey, look, I rank." The
Mm-hmm.
woman, is like, "What the fuck?" You know what I'm saying? It's almost like they don't want to live like this, but they have to. And it's like when Negan killed that doctor and basically told Dwight, and hey, told the doctor, if Dwight's lying to me, what I'm going to do to him is far worse. It's basically like saying, I don't care if he's lying because I'll find out and I'll kill him too. So
Like you just want to like make
he wants
his
to kill
lie
him.
even more worse
Yeah,
than
he
it already
wants to.
is.
He actually, to me, it seemed like he wanted Dwight to be lying so he can have a reason to kill him.
Yep.
And, he throws the doctor in the fire. Like Jay said, you can't. There's too few doctors in the world. And I know that they're talking about possibly, they can go to the hilltop and take Dr. Carson. But, you can't just that's a valuable asset in the apocalypse. And it was done in front of Eugene, and then at the end of the episode, Eugene, Negan comes back to the room, and he said, "You don't have to be scared of anything. You're a part of us now, but I need you to do one thing." And before he can even finish, Eugene completely, "I'm Negan. I've always been Negan. All I needed to do was eat you." But a lot of people are upset and saying, "Oh, he's a traitor." No. This is a bigger part of the plan. This guy, you killed his best friend in front of him.
Yeah.
He saved Rosita's life by sacrificing himself.
Mm-hmm.
He stepped up and helped Rick. Eugene is formulating a plan, and it's obvious by that, but he has to go 100% turncoat to do it. Again, this is Negan not being smart and not realizing that he has done these Alexandria survivors the worst way possible, that you cannot come back from that. And these guys are ultimate survivors, especially like Eugene, the original core survivor group, not the Alexandrians, but these survivors survive together. They're a family. So it's like, you think that you're doing something, but you're really playing with fire if you're Negan. And of course the episode ends, just a lot of hints that Eugene is going to stay true to the survivors. He just has to play along, in my opinion, unless they throw a complete wrench in the game and make Eugene turn on everybody.
It's possible. And even if he was to, like the character he is, he's not a fighter. It's almost self-preservation.
Yes. So
where he's very logical. He's not as emotional as some of the other characters where it's like, this is probably my best chance of survival. So I will do
and
this.
it's also a kill two birds with one stone type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
he can preserve his existence, and he can formulate a plan at the same time
Yeah.
because he's not a fighter. He's not Daryl. He's more logical. He's a mental warrior here.
Yeah, he's
And
not gonna break out and make his way to Hilltop or
no, he's not.
anywhere.
He would get lost and turn right back around. You
Yeah.
know.
Or they'll just die.
So that was the episode in the gist. You didn't get too many glimpses of anybody else other than Laura, Dwight, Negan, and Eugene.
I will say for Dwight, the one powerful scene I liked was when he took out the beer and the pretzels.
Yes, because it showed you. Sherry said, you would never do it, and he did because he still loves her.
Yeah.
That was a huge scene. That's correct, Jay. Good point there. But this also shows you that Dwight was willing to run away with Sherry.
Yes.
It wasn't showing you that he was bringing Sherry back. He had the option. He knew that if he's going to run into her and she wouldn't be there or she'd be dead, he knew that if he did find her, that he was just going to run away with her. But he knew in his mind that he wasn't going to find her there. He just hoped that she might have stayed there, and that's why he had the pretzels and the beer. Dwight is on the cusp of saying "fuck the sanctuary, I'm leaving," and this was the episode to show that. So you got one guy saying "I'm completely with you," and another guy saying "I'm descending here," and it's all by them both saying "I'm Negan." So at the end of the episode, where they're both going this way, they come back and they meet in the middle, and they both have, like I said, it was a powerful moment where they both said, "We work for the same people, and we're Negan," and just that feeling.
How much they actually mean it, it's you don't know.
You don't, and one of them is on the way out, and one of them presumably is on the way in, but they're both in the same boat here. Just a powerful episode if you looked at it. Like I said, this would have been a great bottle episode if they would have strategically placed it in between two very exciting action-packed episodes. We don't know what's coming next week, but it looks like it's going to be a Rick and Michonne episode, and they're going to be, they're going to be in, shit's going to hit the fan with them there, it seems, by the previews, but who the fuck knows? So
yeah, so the next one's going to be the scavenge, which will probably lead to Tara telling him about the other place, and then probably end it. So I think this is going to be an episode where they're out there scavenging, running into some trouble, yada. Last 2 seconds is going to be Tara saying, "I think I know a place with guns."
I agree, and well, we'll see. And like I said, a lot of people are pissed off at just the snail pace of the show, and the average fan.
Yeah,
you can't blame them because the average fan didn't read the comics. The average fan, they're not invested in the show like that. They watch it, and when it's so slow, they're ready to
you gotta imagine there's some people, this is their first season they're watching.
Correct.
And just being like, what?
This is what the season finale everybody talked about. You know what I'm saying?
What's going on? Well, this
exactly.
Isn't that great?
So, but that was the episode in gist. If we had a couple comments, questions about it, and one obviously is Eugene really becoming a savior, or is it an ulterior motive that he has? And we explain it. Yes, I think that he's still on Team Survivor. He just has to play his cards right here. He has to pick his battles. Another question is clearly, what was the point of Dwight doing all this? Why didn't he just tell Negan he couldn't find Sherry? Why did he have to sacrifice the doctor? Well, if he comes back and says he couldn't find Sherry, he's going to get the iron and he's going to die, because now not only did you let Daryl go, and Negan said it best, Daryl's going to come back here and try to kill everybody, especially me and you. Or, you know what I'm saying? And now Sherry's gone. So not only did you put our lives at risk, but you took away one of my wives. So he can't just come back empty-handed. He has to do something.
You have to get back into Negan's grace, and he has to, and also he wants to get that pressure off of him, because Negan's still thinking, you helped her get Daryl out. Exactly. How do you take that heat off of you? Nah, it was that guy over there. He did it. Here's the proof. Here's a note.
There you go. And
I don't think he knew the doctor was gonna get thrown into the fire. I think he thought the doctor was gonna get burned.
I think he thought the doctor was gonna get the iron too.
Yeah.
So
personally, Negan, just break the doctor's ankles or something. He doesn't really need. Where are you gonna run to now, Doc? Nowhere, because your ankles are broken.
Yeah.
Throw him in the fire. That's.
That's just an abuse of power, and it just shows you that this is why the savior Negan, he's starting to, this is a way when you become so powerful, when you want more and more power, you show weakness. You have to understand that with power comes responsibility, not with power comes more power. It's a weakness.
I think it's
greed.
That's I think what keeps Rick around, because he wants to prove how powerful he is.
Yes.
It kind of goes back, if you guys watch Dragon Ball Z, with like the Vegeta character. He always wants to challenge the mightiest warriors, and sometimes that puts everybody else at risk because he allows them to gain more and more power just to prove himself.
Yes.
And he sometimes gets his ass kicked and everybody else dies because of it. But that's kind of the same mentality where Negan needs to challenge himself with Rick.
Yes. And he needs a formidable opponent, but he also knows that Rick being a formidable opponent is also a formidable employee of his.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
he's very methodical as well. He's calculating. So he not only wants it as a conceited, arrogant way of I have absolute power over this powerful guy, but I also have this powerful guy working for me. So again, it's a kill two birds with one stone theory here. Yeah. But when you keep absorbing all this power and you're making yourself into, this most powerful entity. I mean, I'm even going to go back to a Disney movie, Aladdin. If you watched Aladdin, people are laughing, haha, Jay's watched Aladdin. Everybody watched goddamn Aladdin. So
plus you got 2 kids now. I'm sure Neasia loves the land, and so.
I watched it like 4 times with her.
Yeah,
so you know what I'm saying. Plus I watched it when I was a kid. So it's like when you had Jafar, he was the most powerful sorcerer in the world at the point. All he had to do is accept that. All he had to do was just accept that he was powerful, and he didn't need to be any more powerful. He couldn't be defeated. And of course, Aladdin said to him, you're not as powerful as the genie. So he messed up and said, I want to be the most powerful genie in the world. And of course, all that power, there was a price to it, Yep. So you can't, Negan is in this case, he's just absorbing too much power and it's getting to his head. And he's blinded to all these little side quests of these survivors and these little plots and plans against him. And he's losing sight of it. Of course, he's going to come back to Earth, but it's going to cost him. And that's what's going to set us up for all-out war. And, like I said, people can bash it and people cannot watch it. I understand that. I'm not going to force anybody to watch the show. You're not going to talk me out of not watching the show. I'm devoted to the show no matter what. I'm gonna grip my teeth and I'm gonna ride with it. I am gonna say it. It is. I thought that this was one of the worst episodes of the season, so I watched it again. It still wasn't a great episode because of the placement, but I did find things that I liked in it, and
yeah, there's some good humor.
Yeah, it was just poorly placed. Yeah. But anyways, that's that in a nutshell. If you had any other questions about the episode, get them to me or Jay. Yeah. We have
us contact form on the website. There's a contact form. You can shoot us a message there or comment on the YouTube video once it goes live.
Yep. So we breezed through this because it was a slow episode. Had a ton of great questions. So we're going to devote the second half of the show to answering these great questions for you guys. Thank you everybody for getting them to me. And we're going to answer into the best. These are more, would you say, subjective answers?
I think so. These are our personal opinions. I'm welcome to share your own down below. Like I said, in comments. We'd love to have a discussion with everybody.
Definitely.
So.
All right, so let's kick it off. You want to kick it off, Jay?
Yeah, sure. We'll give you this first one here.
Right.
So the question comes from your buddy Glenn there at work. And that question is, you guys have fairly critiqued the season thus far. And I agree with everything you have said in terms of episode retentiveness. How would you guys structure the season? And what would you change about the episodes? It's kind of fun to think how you would script it out.
Yes.
So,
and
go ahead.
I know a couple of Glens. This is my friend Glenn from one of my older jobs. I put this in there. He watches the show from Connecticut. So thank you, Glenn, for this question. You guys have critiqued the season. So how would you how structure the season? I think we answered that too. I think I was anticipating this
Mhm.
question. I think that I would have started off with the premiere. Um, Definitely would have started off with the premiere. The premiere was done perfectly. Um, second episode after that, I think that I would have immediately went to Daryl's episode. I wouldn't have split it up, put in the kingdom right after. I would have immediately went to show what happened with Daryl, quick. Um, and then after that, I would have had, I would have gone to the kingdom, but I would have had a much better battle scene at the beginning. When Carol was hallucinating that the walkers were people. I would have extended that, and I would have had some of the kingdom fighters, either somebody get bit or Morgan saving their lives. I would have definitely had, when the kingdom group went into the city, and Richard said, you can fire a gun in the country, but if you even talk too loud, the walkers will be on you. I would have had another battle scene there where they would have had to fight their way out of the city, because there's no point of saying that if you're not going to back it up.
Mhm.
And then I would have, you had that episode, and then the hilltop episode, I would have extended that fight. Jesus, I would have had him, and definitely show more of his martial arts skills there. I would have had it where Maggie actually passed out, because remember, she just came off of being, coming off of, a uterine wall displacement, whatever the hell she had. But that was serious. So I would have had passing out, and Sasha would have had to save her. Jesus and Sasha would have had to devise a plan to get rid of that car, rather than another jump the shark moment, Maggie running it over with a monster truck thing. I mean, I would have definitely taken that out and made it more creative in the fact maybe they could have lured the walkers out of there some way with that welded shut car. That would have extended the episode. And you follow that up, I would have had another episode, now when they're back at Alexandria. I would have had the Saviors fighting a bigger group of walkers as they waited for Rick, just like they did in the comic books, just to show how strong they were. If you were to show how strong the Saviors were against the walkers, and then take away all of Rick's weapons and say, hey, look, you need us now for real. You see what we did to those walkers, and now you can't do that now. So I would have made that happen. I would have made him, I think that burning the beds was a little overkill. I think I would have made them basically, prove their might in a different, more strategic way, killing walkers, maybe bullying the survivors around a different way other than taking their mattresses. And then, I would have followed that up, the next episode, I would have followed up, and then we were like a 7-6 or whatever. When Sing Me a Song, I like that episode. That was done right. I wouldn't have changed that. And then 7-7, when they're, getting all the supplies again, I didn't mind that episode too much, but, I would have added a lot more walkers. I would have made it, walkers maybe attack Alexandria at this point.
Yeah.
Then the season finale, I would have kept it the same. And then, as we talked about last week, we would have made episode 9 much more action packed there. In episode 10, New Best Friends, maybe combine the 2 episodes to make 1 episode, and then probably have Hostiles and Calamities then, and then this week probably a more action packed episode. But just the placement of episodes, I think if you just extend some of the battle scenes there, the walker attacks, you actually would make the season a lot more fun to watch, because it just makes sense. You want to see the survivors have to fight walkers with no weapons. That would be incredible, because that's the point of Negan taking their weapons.
Yeah. Like, they haven't struggled much.
It's almost like this is the greatest life in the world. Okay, they took our weapons. All we have to do is just find them food. Why can't they start growing food like the hilltop in the kingdom? They could do it.
Like, not much has changed, really. Like, no one wakes up like, man, I didn't sleep at all last night. All right, back out on the road. Like, the rest of the Alexandrians, what are they doing? Are they still going about their lives? Is it staying inside the walls? You
Yep.
know, I feel like it's still just Rick's group out there actually going out there and getting stuff. Everybody else is just like, well, I guess I'll make a tuna casserole today out of, grass. It's just like I don't see any negative impact yet to those people.
Yep. And
Where are
it's
they? Where the hell are they? Besides for like crowding around every once in a while, being background characters, there's no like commentary about how hard like their life is.
correct. And I think that it's you have to show that life is no longer easier. You can't make it. I take your weapons and life really hasn't changed for you
Yeah,
much.
show
I
like the
think,
confidence against Rick. Like what the hell's going on? I'm friggin' starving.
yeah.
You
And then
know?
not only that, but show maybe some people when they took the medicine, show probably one of the survivors dying from an infection, and they had to put him down. Now you show not one of the main people, but one of those background characters being really sick. And Carl said they're taking all of our medicine. You got to tie that together. Maybe you say Carl says that, and then one of the Alexandrian survivors are on like their deathbed, and because
Yeah.
they don't have antibiotics and they die. You know what I'm
Yeah, just
saying?
something
Now,
like super like bronchitis, but like we could have cured this, but now
yeah,
we can't.
perfect.
So,
So that's how I would do it. We'll leave the second one to Jay, so I'll read it off.
all right.
Um, this is this. I'm going to answer this one too because this is a fun one. What would be your favorite side story, secondary character, random zombie webisode you would like to see? So basically, what would in your opinion, what would be a good webisode based upon one of these zombies, like a tank zombie, or maybe the girl zombie with the teddy bear in the first episode, or a side character like they had a webisode, not really a webisode, but a deleted scenes with Guillermo's Vato's group, maybe possibly Morales. But what would be a great webisode that you would like to see based upon one of these characters? And that's from my friend Jay. No relations to this. No relation to this shit.
Not me. I didn't write my own questions into myself.
So and then I wrote down the wrong names from the rest. It should be Jess on the next question, Jay, just to let you know.
All right.
And then Mark and CT is right, and then the two Karens. Okay. So what would your answer be to that question?
I like to see anything. I mean, some of these episodes we're watching now could have been webisodes. That the fillers, we didn't need necessarily the full hour to see, Tara's interaction. Like you said, tune into the web to watch more about it, or even Eugene's interactions. Tune in to see how he interacted with some of the people around there. But really, any of the characters, I love backstories. I love the conflict of when the virus first breaks. Well, virus, but whatever it is that first breaks out, and I want to see kind of how each individual character makes that change from being who they were to who they have to be. Some of Negan's guys, sure. The girl that tattooed her neck. Who was she before this?
Sure.
I don't think it would justify Negan to have just an episode for. I think he deserves one or even an entire season as backstory. But some of these background characters, rather than just have background characters, let's flesh them out a little bit. Fat Joey, what was he? I'm curious.
Yep.
How does someone become a savior with Negan?
Yeah.
Or just show random cities and how they fall. Like this is how they tried doing this. They tried living in the trees. It didn't work because of this. Show me a collapse. Show me Bob's groups that fell. Show me Michonne's camp. How did that get overrun? Just kind of like these side stories that I'd like to flesh out a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, that's good, man. And as I've said it a million times, especially that we just did the review on season 3, the biggest webisode they could do would be, instead of having, I know they had the two governor backstories, but what happened in Woodbury? What happened to Penny?
Yeah.
And how did the governor take control of Woodbury? I think that would be awesome, even if they did it now, because David Morrissey, he's still open to doing episodes on the show. He's offered to come back even this season. I read an interview with him, He came back. He did a picture
Mhm.
with all the other survivors that were killed. The only
Yep.
one that was
I like that.
missing in the picture was Lori Grimes, but everybody else was there. T-Dog, Lizzie, Mika, the governor, Andrea. They were all in this picture, and they had their eyes closed and they're looking up, like their heads are up. But it was just, the governor was in it, and he said that he loves when the Walking Dead calls him. He loves it. He does
Yeah.
not hesitate to come back.
And I like to say that I like him as a person. I like him as an actor. I liked his performance. I don't think the casting was right for that role.
I
I
agree.
think he did a good job with the role that was given, but I don't think he fit the governor persona and that universe. But not to digress down that tangent.
Yeah,
Still love the guy and obviously what he did for the
yeah,
governor as a character in the show, but
I agree.
that's
I agree.
awesome. I think as these actors, it's probably crazy how the fans are with Walking Dead and they appreciate everything, and they go to like these conventions and they'll have characters on. They've been dead for a couple seasons now, and people still love talking to them and getting to know them.
All right. So we'll change it up, and I'll give Jay another question since I did my back. We did back to back.
Sure.
Um, and in your opinion, and this we're both going to answer this one too. You have to read the comics if you want to understand the second part of this question. This probably was one of the best questions to me.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, which group would win in a fight between the Saviors and Woodbury on TV? And then which group would win in a fight between the Saviors and Woodbury in the comics? And this is actually from my friend Jessica. I put the wrong name in the email, Jay. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So who do you think would win in the TV show?
Saviors.
I agree. I think that Woodbury did not have any fighters. And they show when Rick and the group, actually half of the groups, ran them off from the prison, and then ended up defeating them in the prison yard. I think Woodbury wouldn't stand a chance against the city.
No. I mean, Governor took out his own people. One man took out Woodbury, technically.
Yeah, and even if Woodbury would try the sneak attack, the sanctuary is too big to do that. Obviously, you saw Rick did the sneak attack, and it didn't work. He did a sneak attack in the satellite, facility, the outpost, and the sanctuary has so many other fighters and warriors, it didn't bother them. So, it would be complete decimation.
The only thing Woodbury really had going for him was a tank,
and that wasn't even at first. That was afterwards. Second part now. Who do you think would win in the fight between the Saviors and Woodbury in the comics? That's a tough one. That's tougher.
That'd be a closer fight.
It would.
I think Sanctuary still outnumbers them, a 10-1 easily.
Yep.
I think it'd just be a war of attrition. They play the smart game. In the comics, Governor is really chaotic. So
he's much more dangerous character in the comic books though.
Yeah.
And he's not physically imposing like his TV show counterpart. He's very calculating. He's very smart. So this guy, he's a survivor. He got mutilated by Michonne. He got his arm cut off.
Yeah.
And he became stronger. So it's almost like you had this, and I say it again. They defeated Rick. It wasn't Rick who beat the governor in the prison yard. For people who read the comic books, you remember it was Lily Call who killed the governor. Lily Call was with the governor. And when Lily killed Lori and saw that she killed Lori and a baby, which was Judith at the time, Lily got mad at the governor and shot him in the head. So the governor was still alive. They had actually broken into the prisoner and they had the upper hand. And the prison group, or Rick and his group, kind of scattered and they were retreating. And Lily Call ended the regime of the governor, but she was part of Woodbury. Rick and the group could not beat Woodbury at this time. They were powerful. Yeah. So, you're talking about, I said it earlier too, Rick could not beat the sanctuary by himself. Could the governor actually gather other communities without having to be this tyrant could he actually gather other communities to fight the sanctuary? No.
No.
So that's where he would lose, because he's again, too much power
Mm-hmm.
causes you to die or causes you to fuck up. So
I
I
guess
don't.
you can ask yourself, could the TV governor gather those? You know what? I don't think the TV governor would even want to know those communities. I think he would attack
No,
those communities as
exactly. That's
self-preservation.
what I mean. And I still don't think that he's a good leader, because he has to gather people that are weak.
Yeah.
He gathers a lot of weak people. Rick actually gathered communities that were just like Alexandria, that
Mm-hmm.
had strong leaders in place, and he asked them for their cooperation, for their assistance, as a collaboration against the sanctuary. The governor would try to take those communities over and kill off the leaders, and then guide it. And it doesn't work that way. You're just creating more battles for yourself, and that's when you end up dying.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. You got the
All
next
right.
one?
Yeah, we'll get the next one out. All right. Question number 4. Which character death thus far of the survivors would you change if you had the chance to? And then another question tag on that. Are there any characters that you would have killed off in their place? And how would you kill them off? And this is brought to us by your buddy there, Tim. And thanks, Tim, for liking the Echo 5 Studios Facebook page. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And thank you very much, Tim. Every week, man, you text me and give me great feedback, and sometimes you make fun of me for the things I say on YouTube. So I appreciate that too, buddy. So I'm gonna answer this one for you, asshole. This is for you, Tim. Okay. So, which character deaths thus far would I have changed if I had a chance to? I definitely would have changed Andrea's death. I didn't like the way they killed her off. I mean, I would have killed her,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't like her death scene. I actually saw online the original Andrea death, where Milton was ripping into her, and they actually took that away and made it so you didn't know if she survived or not. But I think that I would have replaced Andrea's death scene with another Andrea death scene, and I would have had Milton rip her apart, and then the survivors come in and have to kill Milton, and then Andrea rise again and have to kill Andrea. So she would die twice, because I didn't like that character at all. So I would want her to die and then die again, because the character was horrible.
Yeah, like have her turn and still be handcuffed to the chair, so it's almost
Yes.
like oh, she's helpless,
And
she's turned.
If you look closely at, to me, the highest rated episode, the highest viewed episode in the series was the season 5 premiere, with 17.23 million people watching.
Hmm.
At the very beginning, when Carol and Tyrese are walking on the tracks, they had an Easter egg. So they had a walker that had the same clothes on as Andrea, had a big gash in her head, and she was in handcuffs. So it was almost like, they're paying homage to Andrea's character there. You gotta look very close. So watch the season 5 premiere, and you'll see this walker. And a lot of people actually thought it was Andrea, but it was, Greg Nicotero said no, it was just a shout out to what happened. She didn't survive it, but this is just like, one of those Easter egg type walkers that we like to do. But it was definitely it was an Andrea like walker there. So that was fun, but I definitely would have killed her in a different way and made her die twice. The second part was, are there any characters you would have killed in their place? I said it, Andrea with Andrea, and I said how you would kill them off. I mean, I got to stick to it. I mean, I like that they killed these characters the way they did. I mean, Lori would be a close second. I think that I would have had Lori die in a different way. Maybe, she gave birth and she was alive. Since Julius was alive anyways, I think I would have had a zombie herd absolutely tear her apart. And Rick had to watch. Like Rick couldn't get there in time.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'll stand pat with what they did there. Jay?
Oh.
Tough one, huh?
Yeah. I don't like to look too back. There's some where it was questionable, like what's the purpose of that? Dale, unfortunately, with some contract disputes that was ultimately I think it led to his character walking off in the middle of the night to a screeching cow,
Yeah.
and then being surprised.
Beth?
Because zombies are so stealthy.
Yeah, I know.
I'll never understand that how they sneak up on people as they drag their feet and groan. Um, Tyrese, I love the episode. I don't like how he got distracted and he got bit on the arm. I think they could have somehow did that a little better. Not
Agree.
so like complacency killed him.
Yep.
Either have like his hammer raised up and see the child, but like just not being able to bring down the hammer onto him.
Hmm.
And that's how he got bit. Like it was a mental choice that he just couldn't do it anymore.
Makes more sense that he died that way too, because he was conflicted all the time.
Yep. Where he sees, the dead boy in the bed and sees the dead boy coming towards him, and he just pauses because he sees the boy as a living person.
Yeah.
And then Flash, as a zombie, and he's got his left arm back biting it instead. I'd like that to happen instead.
Yep.
What else is there?
I didn't like Beth. I didn't like her death at all either.
Oh no, that was pointless.
That whole hospital thing. It kind of made season 5. I didn't like it at all. I think that they owe Beth a little bit of a better death than what they gave her. I think that was rushed.
Yeah.
I think that was poorly executed. I think that was a terrible decision by these, and even people. That was another moment where people kind of protested against the show because it made no sense.
Yeah.
And the way they killed her made no sense. It was just stupid.
I'm going to stab you in the shoulder. I'm going to shoot you in the face. What?
Exactly.
Yeah. I would say Herschel. Well, I think he should have died the same way, but I think the order was wrong with the governor's then girlfriend bring the kid over. Yes. I like to have that been the catalyst to the governor saying
him snapping.
Yeah, like, no, you can't protect us. Only I can. Look what happened. I need the prison. You all need to die.
Yeah.
Hack Herschel. Not hack Herschel, middle of a gunfight. This woman starts walking through it all with her dead child. Governor stops, walks over. It seems a little too chaotic. I like to have switched those points there where like the governor might be thinking for a second, can this work? And then the dead child being like, no, I need to be in charge. You need to be out of my way. I need to protect these people.
Mm-hmm. And I think that another thing I would have done too with the governor is instead of even though I like Michonne killing the governor, I think it would have drove a point, even a better point across if Lily shot the governor in the head while he was choking out Rick. Like you see the governor get shot in the head and fall forward on Rick, and then Lily's standing over Rick and just drops the gun and walks off. I think that would have gave the comic book readers a very good Easter egg there. Maybe Michonne.
Then you're like, well, where's Lily? Is she gonna come back like in comic book or the novel form? What's she gonna do?
And then maybe have Michonne save Carl in the prison yard, and then because they were reunited anyways, and they could have had the episode with the three of them as it was. Yep. Basically Michonne looking for Judith, saying to Rick and Carl, I'll find Judith, and then they get separated even then. But I really think that they could have did a lot of those things differently, but again, that's why this is subjective, man. I mean, I guess it worked in a lot of ways. In some ways it didn't. Some ways fans loved it. Some ways it pissed fans off. But that's very good, man. So
and just one more. And in season 6, I would like to have seen Abraham go in the season finale.
Correct. I agree.
Giving us a a closing to it.
I agree.
Oh man, it sucks. But hey, at least Glenn's safe. It gives that false sense of like you get dread and a false sense of hope.
Yes.
And then the opening
100%
one, just,
agree.
Kill Glenn and be like, oh, you gotta be fucking shitting me. They got him anyway.
Yeah, man. And I don't even if they didn't show him bashing Abraham's head, just for him picking Abraham, and then the initial hit, and then the season was over. You understand what I'm saying?
And that would crunch.
Yeah. And then showing it next year doesn't take away from it. So it was poorly played. But I agree with that.
Or show him just pointing to him, and then showing the same scene where the cameraman gets killed. At least then oh shit, this is from Abraham's point of view.
Yep.
But otherwise, Oh, that one's so much better.
Correct. Another webisode idea here is the group from the library. Why don't they do that webisode there? Because they were a big enough group, and that character was a big enough character to hang them over a bridge and whatnot. So make an example out of them. Why not have the episode where they stand up against Negan? It shows you what happens if you stand up against Negan.
And to tack on that, Oceanside's gonna be coming back. Show that. How did he kill all these males? When did these women run away?
Correct.
Show that side.
Right. I'll do one more question, and then I'll let Jay take over here.
Right.
This is for both of us. I'm gonna let Jay answer this one, so you can have back-to-back questions being answered here. What is your favorite weapon in this series? It's from my buddy Johnny. So favorite weapon in the series.
You can go with iconic ones like Daryl's crossbow or the Colt or Michonne's katana.
There's a lot of them, man. Think about it. The governor had his special pistol.
Yep.
Carol has her bladed her knuckle knife.
Yep.
The bow staff.
That's true. That's a good one too.
Negan has the bat, as we all know.
Yep. You have like the Kingdom's spears, the homemade spears there.
Yeah. Jesus with his hands. Got a lot of weapons, man.
Oh, that's a tough one. But something that just always like brings me back to the comics is Tyrese's hammer. The sheetrock hammer. That's a giant ass hammer.
And I wish they would have let Tyrese use it in a different, let him use it all the time. That would be awesome.
Just go ham on some zombies. Yeah. And make potato salad with it. I don't care. He's just a beast of a man with this giant ass hammer, and you're not gonna break that hammer.
Nope.
Jesus. Katana would be good too.
That was my pick.
I figured that would be yours.
Yeah, that was my pick. You knew it. You know me.
Yeah.
So, I think the katana is the most efficient. I like the crossbow, but you have to reload it all the time to have the katana and to have the skill to use it. And I know how to use a katana, so it's like just knowing that you don't have to reload it, you can sharpen it. It's right there by your side, and it's just so effective. Not just against the dead, but against living. It's foolproof, and the only thing about it is not automatic, but you don't necessarily need an automatic weapon all the time. It's stealthy, it's quiet. I mean, so many of Michonne's kills have been stealth kills, and she's just such a great samurai. It's unbelievable. So I think the katana is my favorite weapon by far. It's just not even close to me. I just love it. I think that, when she lost it a couple of times. The government took it from her. The no sanctuary people or the terminus people took it from her. Mm-hmm. She lost it a couple of times, and she also put it down a couple of times too. But just the fact that she always got it back, and it's such an essential weapon to the group, and saved their asses so many times. I think that the katana blade is the shit, man. It makes her the most deadliest character in my book. She's just incredible.
And you can go cliche and say something like fair weapon is the will to live, or something like that. Yeah, whatever.
Katana.
I'd almost say we should have a melee weapon and then a ranged weapon.
That's good too. So both our favorite melee weapons were used there. The ranged weapon, you're gonna go with Daryl's crossbow.
Reusable ammo. You can make your own ammo pretty. I don't know if easily. I've never made a bolt for a crossbow, so I don't really know. Yeah. He seems to never run out of it. I'd probably go with some sort of mid-range rifle, though, like an M4 or a AK-47, just for. Yeah. I mean, you gotta think with range, you're gonna deal with humans more than zombies and.
Yep. My favorite weapon. And this is why I get so pissed off that Andrea's not in the show. And I really hope that they really dig back into Michonne learning how to be a sniper as well, because that'll kill two birds with one stone for me. I have a katana and a sniper in the same person. Yeah. What the hell? That's the greatest warrior in the whole wide world. Just a sniper rifle. When Sasha is such a sniper, I think the sniper rifle is incredible as well, because You could pick things off from a distance, living or the dead. It's quiet.
Yeah. I think if you're going to demoralize a group, you shoot the leader and then watch everything kind of fall apart.
And that's just, I mean, Andrea, when she's a sniper, she's an assassin. Now, I like ninjas and I like assassins, and you can't get much better than being a ninja with a katana or assassin with a sniper, sniper rifle. So it's like, those are my two favorite. I think the crossbow, it's good. That's a close second because Daryl made it so much fun.
You gotta be so close for that. You can't have shoot crossbow 500 feet away.
You also have to be an expert with it.
Yeah.
Because Daryl said it many times. It has a kick to it. So, I like the governor's silver pistol that he had. Rick's Colt Python was good. Shane's shoulder shotgun was good, but they really can't compare. Like the crossbow, the sniper rifle, the hammer, and the katana to me are just the most unique weapons that are just so efficient. You just can't beat them.
And it encapsulates the persona too. That's actually using it.
Yes. Where anybody could use the Colt Python and anybody could use the silver pistol. You know what I'm saying? Anybody could use the shoulder shotgun. So I think that Jay's right there. Not everybody can be a sniper, as Michonne has showed you. Not everybody can be a samurai. Not everybody can be a hunter or an archer like Daryl. And not everybody can use, not everybody can actually use that hammer because it is heavy and you need to have an incredible amount of strength to swing that thing down and bust skulls and stuff like that. Like you can't see Carol using that goddamn thing.
Yeah. See, I think with Rick that they should show him using the axe more. I think that fits his persona. It's common, it's rugged, it's edgy, and it's simplistic, but it's so efficient on so many levels.
Yep, that's a good one too. So, very good question, Johnny. I appreciate that question too. You could take the next one away, Jay.
All right, question number 6. You repeatedly said that the characters had to shed the people they were in their past lives in order to become survivors in the apocalypse. Which character, villains included, has stayed as true to their past lives as possible? Which characters has made the most changes? And this is from your buddy Mark, and once again in Connecticut.
Yep. That's a good one, man. So I think Eugene is basically what he was. I think that he is a master manipulator. He has not changed. He has not become this stealthy warrior. He's not become, he's still a coward. He's staying true to it. I don't think that you're seeing a big change in him at all. I think that he's always been Eugene. His whole life, he's always devised plans. He's always been a brilliant guy. And that's why, he's able to survive the way he has, is because he's actually just himself. He literally has not changed. Even when he's grown a pair of balls, he's still witty. He's still he's intelligent, and he's still a coward.
Yeah.
So Eugene is, to me, I think Eugene hasn't changed at all. I think Eugene is true to who he was before the apocalypse. And then the one that has changed the most, and that's an obvious, is Carol. She's literally, Daryl would also be considered a guy that hasn't changed. I think his mentality changed as he's more likable. But he's always been a scavenger, always been a hunter. He's a close second behind Eugene in not changing.
Yeah. But
Carol has made the biggest change of anybody. Carol went from a timid, abused housewife to literally a stone cold-blooded killer. And she's so much of a killer. She knows she's a killer, and she knows that she can be set off at any moment. It's almost like she had an outer body experience to say, "What the fuck are you doing? You killed all these people. You crazy?" And then her, So,
yeah, it'll be like Eugene turning into Daryl. It's just that drastic of a change.
It's such a drastic change. It's ridiculously drastic. I mean, Glenn is dead. He would be one that didn't change. I think Glenn, just matured. He just grew up. and others that have, other people that have really changed after the apocalypse. We're gonna get into it probably. Negan, I think Negan has probably changed drastically.
Yeah, I
But
think it's easy to say that the most diabolical people weren't going around, especially smashing people's heads in with a baseball bat,
yeah,
or like the urge to.
yeah.
You can also argue, I mean, age-wise, Carl obviously grew up from being like 6 to, was he
But is
17
that is
now?
that really a change or grow? You know what I'm saying? Is that growing up
Yeah,
into the?
that's tough. Like he wasn't established. You don't have
Yeah,
a personality established as a 6-year-old yet. You're still
exactly.
out going through changes. But I mean, obviously, he's not playing Legos anymore. He's
Yeah, yeah.
so.
So, any in your mind, Jay?
I agree with you, definitely.
There you go. So hope we answer that one for you, Mark. Thank you for the question, man. The next one, I'll let Jay take this. I'll let Jay answer this one. So, this one, I'm gonna ask Jay the next two. So, it's like, will you guys do a Dissect Fear the Walking Dead? That show kind of sucks. But will you start fresh with the third season? So will we start Fear the Walking Dead like we did Walking Dead season 7, and then Fear the Walking Dead season 3? It would be fun to see a Dissect a zombie movie or Dissect a zombie game series rather than Fear the Walking Dead. And this is from Karen, another one of my friends. We talked about Fear the Walking Dead, so I think that would go. I think that would be, something we can do for the third season, and then I'll let Jay finish the rest of this.
Yeah, I think that'll be the next. That'll be a progression as far as a different show to dissect. We might do a recap too, just to kind of catch everybody up before the third season starts. Won't take us that much of an effort. The first season you can probably explain in a couple sentences. Or 2 words, skip it. I think we can manage that, or even just do like one recap episode of everything.
Yeah.
And I think it is on the uptick.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree.
I thought Walking Dead was on uptick after season 6 as well. So it's hard to tell. We can't guarantee anything.
And it's a lot harder for Fear because it's not in the comic books. It's not comic book. This is all original. So it's like we have nothing to base it upon.
So, we can't even tell you like, oh, this storyline's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Because we don't know. So that's exciting too. It's definitely a different experience for that.
Yep.
So yeah, I'd like to. We're gonna probably take a look at when this season ends, when Fear the Walking Dead begins. Do we have a premiere date yet for that or no?
It's gonna be in June.
June?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're gonna do the first 8 episodes will be June through July, and then they take like a 2-week break, and then the rest is gonna be like August through the premiere of Walking Dead. So.
All right. Yeah, we'll try to figure something out here. We'll schedule everything out.
Yep.
But yeah, I could see us doing that definitely.
Yep.
Right. So, your next question. See a
wait.
Oh.
Yep. Go ahead. No, you got
were
it.
you gonna say something to that? Sorry.
Nope. You're good. Go.
All right. Next question about the dissecting zombie movie or zombie video game series. I think it'd be fun. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Mystery Science Theater series at all. James, you know that kind of series?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. It's where a guy and a couple, I guess like robots make fun of a movie. I'd love to do that with James over World War Z.
God damn.
I'm not sure what the legalities of that is.
Yeah. I mean, we don't got, if you guys want to support us for legal fees, and that's.
I haven't seen that online, but like, let's watch something and then like critique it as we watch it.
I've watched something called what the hell is it called? It's a movie something where they criticize, like they give like points to why the movies suck. Yeah. Like it's like everything wrong with, and then the movie name, and like they show like scenes of the movie, and then they pause it and say, what the fuck is this guy doing here? And then they keep going. It's like Cinema Sins it's called. Okay. So, you watch a couple of those on YouTube, or Jay, you can watch some of those. That's a good idea. Obviously, we wouldn't copy that, but I like the Mystery Science Theater one.
You know,
That would be hilarious. Oh my god. Especially with World War Z.
that's the only one I can think of. The other ones would be I kind of like this movie, you know, but because Mystery Science Theater, they have new episodes coming out actually on. I'm not sure actually what's carrying that. Was it Netflix possibly? I know they got Felicia Day in it, which I love her. So that should be fun. I'm gonna check that out once they release those.
Yeah, so basically, we would do a dissect the zombie movie or dissect the zombie game series as like maybe a 1-2 time thing. We would not replace an entire TV series with that.
And the game thing, a Let's Play would be interesting too with James and I if we could figure that out.
Unbelievable.
Even if it's just like us going through some of the Telltale Walking Dead games and then comparing like, hey, did you say that guy? James is like, no, I let that son of a bitch die. I'm like, yeah, I did.
I actually will say that. That's the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's another zombie game for zombie video game fans with the new generation consoles. 7 Days to Die by Telltale Games. Get that game. It's Minecraft for adults, basically with zombies in it. You cannot beat that game. It's unbelievable. So definitely get that for the zombie game fans. But we'll continue on to the next question. Now I'm going to leave this one for J2. I recently tuned into the webisode. I'm sorry. I recently tuned into the website and saw that you are playing Dungeons and Dragons board game. How long have you played board games, and are there any zombie board games you would play? What would the show be like with James playing in your group? And that's from Karen again.
All right. So Dungeons and Dragons is fun. It's a tabletop role-playing game. If you haven't checked it out, I'm sure you've heard about it. It's a lot of fun. I didn't give it much, I guess, credit because I thought only nerds, it's dorky, it's lame. But it's actually a lot of fun to see how people react to situations. I've only been playing board games like
just recently,
about 2 years maybe, something like that. Our buddy Radic got us into it. Really,
sure did.
There's a
Camp
Friday.
Grizzly.
What's that? Camp Grizzly. It's a little known game. It's pretty much Friday the 13th board game. That's awesome. Check that out. So what zombie board games would you play? I mean, you have to go with Dead of Winter. I think that's a good one. We played that one, right, James?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did.
And we played the Walking Dead board game too. So
yep, Walking Dead. Yeah, we got that for you for your birthday. That was good. I like the Dead of Winter. It's a little more secretive. It's a co-op game, but you can also have like a betrayer. So maybe someone's just trying to. Everyone has like their own hidden objective to win. You have like the group objective, and you have your own hidden objective. Like I want to hoard all the food, so I won't give as much because it's it's kind of like a character in Apocalypse. It's kind of like an introduction to role playing, where D&D is there are no rules really. Yeah. So I like Dead of Winter. I know Camp Grizzly isn't a zombie game, but it's in the horror genre.
Camp Grizzly is incredible. I love that game.
Betrayal on at the House on Haunted Hill. That's another good horror-esque kind of game. I can't think of any other. I mean, the Zombicide board game. That's just like. I don't know if you played that one at all. That's like. Shoot, what's that zombie game? It's just like run around, shoot a bunch of like 4-player.
Oh, Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead. It's kind of like Left 4 Dead on the board game. It's insane zombie killing action. I like that one. There's so many different ones out there, though. Give them a shot. I mean, I think in general, board games and kind of the nerd culture is becoming pop culture. So check them out. And if you want reviews of them, maybe I'll get some reviews together as well. But for that last part of the question, what was the show like with James playing with your group? So with creating a character, you kind of choose like your alignment. And then there's like two sides to the coin. You have chaotic, neutral, lawful, and you have evil, neutral, good. I would go with James being not chaotic evil, but definitely chaotic neutral, where he's just like, I'm just gonna hack this guy's face off because I don't like him. I don't trust him.
Wild card.
Done. we're all having a good conversation. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
wham, James with an axe to the guy's
I killed him. I'm done.
There's different classes you could choose. I'd probably put him in either like a fighter or a barbarian
Yeah.
class. Just
Yeah.
just
I'm
ruthless.
kind of aggressive.
Heavy on the combat. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm done talking to these people.
Yeah, I
Let's go
don't.
kill
I
some
don't.
things.
Forget the small talk. Let's not try to. Let's not try to be methodical. Let's just destroy everything.
I'm not killing the same for charity. You got some money? Give me that. What is that? I don't care. Whatever Eugene said. Basically, Eugene, like, give me that. I want that toy. That's mine.
So Karen, basically, I would. So if you watch D&D, I support everything Jay does, and like I said, I didn't know what. I've heard of Dungeons and Dragons. I have religiously watched them on my own. I think that it's a unique concept that they do. It's fun. Jay's the dungeon master in all the games that they play. Jay's wife is we're all friends. Like Jay said, he got a couple of like-minded Dungeons and Dragon board gamers on there as well. So if I was actually on that show, it'd be a little bit wild. It'd be a little more wild than what it is. Be a lot of mistakes being made. A lot of poor decisions. And they would have to make a lot more food because the little snacks that they make I would probably eat all their snacks up. I would constantly have to have something to drink. Not even alcohol, I just would constantly just be moving around and be animated. So, it would be fun. But it's good to watch. I'm glad I get to watch it and not drive him crazy and play. Maybe one day I might, when I make it down to Arkansas where Jay is.
That's a state. It's a state with an A. You're getting closer.
But yeah, maybe one day, if we ever make it down there. Obviously it's hard to transport with kids and dogs and everything else. Yeah. But I would love to be on the show. So. You never know. But that was a great question. That was a fun question, Karen. I appreciate that too. 8 very good questions.
Thank you much, guys. Those are awesome.
You guys really have put time into watching the show, and it shows with the question. And you also love The Walking Dead. Even if you like have qualms with it, you're showing us that you want us to review it and answer the questions. So we love you guys, and thank you so much for the questions. And hope we answered to the best of the ability that we could. Hope we made you laugh along the way. But, get ready for next week. So next week is Say Yes. It's obviously going to show the side quest of Rick and Michonne. The trailer has them in a carnival, amusement park atmosphere.
You think that's homage to Zombieland at all?
Yes, I think so. I thought about it. I think so. Mm-hmm. It also shows that they're trying to gather supplies still, and obviously probably for the Garbage Pail Kids. And then it shows Rosita kind of like being aggressive and not wanting to wait around. She wants to make moves now because she wants to attack Negan. So you have a plan in place, and Rosita does not like this plan. You can see that she's doing her own thing, which can also involve Tara. And, this is going to be, it's going to have a lot of moments of action here. I don't know if it's needed at this point. I think this is one of those episodes that they're just thrown in there. I can't wait to see it because, again, you get to see 2 of the stronger characters in Rick and Michonne, and they're obviously going to encounter a whole bunch of the walkers. So we're going to get some action this week coming up, and I'm kind of looking forward to it, but I think it may be one of those episodes that they kind of threw in here. And if they did, why didn't they throw it in earlier instead of whatever they showed?
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be some like tag team moves by Rick and Michonne. You know what I mean? Like a clothesline from hell. It's just like some like setups. I got this guy's arms. You hack him in the face. There's some cool different things in there.
Correct. You never know, but I'm hoping. But then I don't know. Maybe they'll just show them driving the whole time talking, and then get to the carnival and get attacked, and it'd be last 5 minutes of the show, and then they drive away. You know, I really want to see it pick up a little bit. I mean, again, I'm not going to change what I said. I'm all for filler episodes. They have to be placed correctly.
Yeah.
If this is a zombie show, you can't have the zombie show with one zombie hanging on a fence and another zombie getting, shot in the face with an arrow. That's not a zombie show to me. This is zombie. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay to have a whole bunch of zombies in the show because that's what it is.
Yep.
It's okay. Even if you showed a whole bunch of them on the fence and the savior's killing them in the background, or somebody, like, even if the doctor turned in the furnace and they had to pull him out, it's okay. We like that. So definitely every week I look forward to it. I think that we got the filler episode out of the way with Eugene. Hopefully 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 are on the upswing. Probably get one more filler episode in between here. But I think the next couple will be faster paced. We'll see.
This feels like the longest, like a roller coaster, and they pull you up. You know, it just feels like I've been sitting in this goddamn roller coaster for 5 hours waiting for the ride to start. It's like, come on, man, can we just get going? It better be one hell of a ride. I tell you what.
And you know what? If they're using this season to build up All Out War for next year, I can understand that, but they need to be more creative in doing it instead of dragging it out like this.
Because you're gonna lose viewers.
You're losing viewers, and if you do have a great season 8, how much damage have you already caused? What is it going to do to the numbers, the overall numbers? And you don't want to have now you had a great season 6, and you followed it up with a poor season 7.
Mm-hmm.
But season 7 started off with all the audience trickling in from that great season 6. You don't want to have no audience to watch season 8. You know what I'm saying? You don't want the numbers to be low for a great season 8. You kind of want it to start off on a good note like season 7 did. You kind of want to challenge that 17.23 million viewer record that you have. That would be my idea as a showrunner. I want to break that record in big episodes. And other than the premiere, they're really not they're not even close this year. Not even. I mean, they're 5-6 million behind, 7 million behind that record. So, if you're gonna have a season 8, you better start. Hopefully, they made these episodes to pick up and gear into it, because I am now submitting. I'm submitting myself to the fact that they're just using this to propel into season 8, and that's not good. Because the average fan does not do that. I do it because I'm obsessed with the show, but the average fan won't do it because, there's other things going. They watch other TV, and
they do have options.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, there are other options. I'm invested, man. I
was gonna say, you're too far gone.
Nobody's gonna sway me. People can talk about it as much as they want, and I agree with some of the weak points on the show, but there's no way you're gonna get me to completely knock this show and say it sucks. This is the best show on TV, period. There's no comparison. Breaking Bad is done now. Breaking Bad was close, and Game of Thrones is out there. A lot of people will say Game of Thrones is better. It's subjective there. It's opinion. I think this is the best show on TV. I think it has the potential of eclipsing any other show. I mean, when you have a show that cannot air on Sundays when the playoffs are going on because the fear that it's going to take away from people watching sporting events, how powerful this show is. So they have the potential to be unbelievable. They're having a down season. But just like that, they could turn it around, man. I'm telling you, just like that, they can make this, they can make the show unbelievable. So, we just have to wait.
You gotta wait and see. You gotta say expectations.
Yeah.
I'm gonna set mine for this next episode a little low. I think I'll set a little bit higher than what I have for this last one, but I'm still not expecting much progress.
I'm gonna set my expectations high for this episode. Because they got that Eugene filler episode out of the way. I think that this one is going to have a little bit more action. I think it's going to be, I think they're going to add on to this episode. Like, this is one of the throw-in episodes, I should say. Like, did they need it? Probably not. But I think that this is going to be a great break from all these filler episodes.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of good moments here.
Yeah, I'll say I agree with you. There's going to be a lot of action, a lot of crazy fight scenes. I think it's going to be,
I have a feeling
75% fight scenes.
I have a feeling that just by watching that trailer and slowing it down, they're going to and hearing Michonne scream out for Rick. I wouldn't be surprised if Rick has some close calls in this episode. Keep us on our feet, on the edges of our seats as well. So I'm gonna set my expectations high, for this one and maybe even the next one. Mm-hmm. So the next 2 episodes, I think it's gonna be a clear break in these goddamn fillers and bottle episodes. It's gonna be a clear change of pace here. So I think 12 and 13 will be rewarded for our patience, and will also be, it'll kind of draw us back into toward the end of the season. So, that's just my guess. I could be wrong. It could be another fucking filler episode. Who the hell knows?
Right. I think the difference with this one's gonna actually be fun.
Yes.
I think it's gonna be high octane, like you've been saying. But I just don't expect much progress. I think this is going to be road trip, fight, close calls, Terry being like, listen, I have to tell you guys something. End episode.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? If they did that, that's fine. Because you like Jay said, you can't just have the ocean side just be a random place that they don't go back to.
If obviously, they did that, I'm gonna be pissed. Like, you wasted an entire episode.
That would be irritating. That would be really irritating.
I'd lose my shit.
Yeah, that would almost. I think a lot of people would say there was one episode in season 4 that I really thought they literally put this episode in here just to appease the Daryl fans, and they did not have to do it. And it was the Daryl and Beth episode where they went to that golf course and then they went to the house. Mm-hmm. It was just now Daryl's arguing with Beth and they burned down a house, and that was a little stretch there. I think they could have did something else with that episode. I kind of get the feeling that if they did this Oceanside for no reason, that would be worse than that. I think that you have to almost automatically have to go back to Oceanside, and I don't think we've seen the last of them. Just by the way they're hinting, there's no way we've seen the last of Oceanside.
Yeah, and then they need guns. There's a close-up of the guns. They have to go back, yeah.
Correct. So. But, hey, man, great episode. Yeah. You guys, great questions. Appreciate it.
Very much appreciated.
Keep watching. Again, stress to you. Donate to the charity. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Go to echo5studios.com. Look at the other stuff. I say it all the time. Jay says it all the time. A lot of things, different things for different people. Mm-hmm. But it's also, you just listen to, the commentary. You put it on at work. At work, you can listen to us. You don't have to watch. You can just listen and you get commentary. It's a podcast. It's incredible, man. It definitely makes the day go by faster, and just it's interesting stuff. So check us out, man, and support us if you can.
Yeah, and like James was saying, I think it's appreciated. We can do some fun stuff too. If you guys want to send in like a video question, we can always throw that up here.
Yes.
If you guys want to be a little face like that, or join us live. We don't mind taking live questions either.
That's correct, man. Might have one or two of these people that I know have been asking me a lot of these questions. I might have them call in. You could be a part of the show too. You could rib us when we're talking and whatnot. Tim, he's a pain in my ass. I know he would like to come on the show. Just to be a pain in the ass. Right. But that would be fun.
You always throw on speakerphone. That's no problem.
It might get. I'm not. People would say, "Oh, you're vulgar." Yes, I am, because I can do that. I'm not sugarcoating anything. Talking about The Walking Dead, we're talking about blood and guts, and they swear all the time. Yeah. And if you read the comics, I am G-rated compared to what you would read in the comic book. Trust me.
Seriously. the graphic novels.
You have no idea.
Very graphic. So, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, gosh. All right, man. So great show, Jay, man. Appreciate it as always, man.
Yeah, likewise, James. Thanks for, of course, coming on with our show. And thank you guys for tuning in. And once again, we do appreciate it. And the great questions. If you guys can donate, we do appreciate it. If you can't donate, we understand. Just click on the ads, spread the word, subscribe, like the video. Anything to kind of get us out there, draw attention to us from our ad revenue that we can then donate to the charities. Other than that, tell us what you thought about everything. Leave comments. We like entertaining those comments and seeing what your guys' perspective is on everything as well. Besides for that, James, do you have any closing thoughts?
That's it, man. Stay tuned. Hopefully, like I said, it picks up. Say yes to the next episode. Like I said, I got my expectations are high, man. They hit us with too many of these slow episodes, and I think that Hostiles and Calamities was a good bottle episode, just poorly placed. And that's what made it so bad. But say yes. Tune in to us next Monday. We're getting to the end. Let's pick this show up a little bit. All right. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
All right, bye-bye.